So there's so much to nag about with parabolas that it does my head in sometimes teaching it, because people just get mixed up and go, there's 3 different forms and there's all this different stuff. You okay? So then I walk in and nag about one concept. I'm not talking about the x-intercepts, the y-intercepts, I'm not talking about the turning point. All I'm talking about is the axis of symmetry. You ready? Almost like, I want to just go, there it is. So I do the there it is sometimes, it annoys people crazy. Ready? There it is. X equals 3. But it's not the minus 3, it's the 3. Now, what do you call vertical lines? An axis of symmetry is vertical, and vertical are called x equals, not y equals. And if you just wrote 3, guess how many marks you get? Nothing. This is said get the equation, and the equation has to have either the x equals or the y. So it's just x equals 3, so what's this one? I can go, there it is. There it is. But it's not the 2, is it? It is a minus 2. X is minus 2. Let's look at some others. What if I did this to you though? Can you look at this one and do that? No. So what method can you use to get it? If I could factorise it, I could factorise and then figure out where the axis of symmetry is. But can you think of 2 numbers that multiply to 1 that add up to 4? No. So you need another method. Okay? You can go completing the square and mucking around with it, but there's a really, really complicated formula. Does anyone know? I'm being facetious. Ready? It's like going through a country town. Zoom, it's gone. X equals minus b on 2a. You put the numbers in and write the answer down. Now let's say you don't understand why that's a formula. Could do this to you. Minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac on 2a. What's the first part of that? Minus b on 2a. And that's the equation of the axis of symmetry. So by the way, why does it work? This gives us the plus or minus bit. So this will give us the 2 roots. This gives us the roots. This gives us the 2 x-intercepts. If the 2 of them turn out to be, say, let's say they turn out to be 3 and 5. What's the axis of symmetry? What is it? 4. So how do we get the 3 and the 5? By adding 1 and taking 1. So this part just here of that formula is what? The axis of symmetry. So, by the way, if they both turned out to be 4, how much will they be adding and subtracting? Are they adding and subtracting nothing? 4 plus nothing is? Well, he said nothing. 4 plus nothing is? 4. 4 subtract nothing is? 4. So the first part of that formula is the axis of symmetry. So what do we got? There's A, which is 1. There's B, which is 4. And there's C, which is 1. So, what am I going to use? I'm going to minus whatever the B value is. So that's minus 4. And I've got 2 times 1. And I've got minus 4 on 2. Which is minus 2. See your faces. So what's the first part of the quadratic formula? The axis of symmetry. Okay, get rid of that. Yeah, get rid of that stuff. So what if I got it written this way? Or what if I did this?
Very sad. Yeah,
what method can I use? Minus b on 2a. Here's the interesting part. Try to brainwash people with a minus b on 2a. Most people will do this already. Watch, you'll miss it. Go on. 2 numbers that multiply to 8. Oops. 2 and 8. Two numbers that multiply to 8 that add up to 6. I could say two negative numbers that multiply. Anyway, let's forget about negatives for a moment. So which one is it? Two numbers that multiply to 8 add up to 6. 2 and 4. So you got x minus 2 and you got x minus 4. There's the 2 and the 4. That tells us what? Does anyone remember who's gone to sleep over the holidays? Not holidays, the break. That tells us they have to be the same sign. And what's the minus tell us? They're both negatives. So me and my two negatives make a positive. So if I multiplied out that bracket and went back to where I started, the negative 2 times what the negative 4 would be? Positive 8. But if I accidentally wrote one of those as an addition, I'd end up with negative 8. Most you're okay. Let's put that back to a minus. What will I do then? I could say the roots are x equals 2 and x equals 4. Where's halfway between them? Halfway between 2 and 4 is the same one I was talking about over there, which is just a fluke. X equals 3. Now, why would people do that when they could have just gone x equals minus b on 2a, and they could have gone minus 6 on 2 times 1, which is 6 on 2, which is just 3. You can do that if you want to. What's the shortcut for the axis of symmetry? That one. But here's the thing is, during the working out of the question, you probably already have it written that way, and you just look at it and go, halfway between 2 and 4. Yeah? So go and do 6, we'll do a couple more. Let's see if I can make your brain pop. So the first part of the quadratic formula, ready, set? Will it flip your brain? From experience, if I'm talking to about 20 people, there will usually be about probably half of you in the exam. Forget that you can use that. It's almost like you've never seen it before. It's like angle of elevation, and people got all mixed up with angle of depression and all sorts of stuff. Okay? Axis of symmetry, you can just go and do that. So a couple more questions, here we go. 6, 7, so if I wrote it this way, and I went minus x minus 3 squared minus 7, let's make it look more complicated. Can I use minus b on 2a? No. Because you don't know what a, b and c are. You know what c is? Is that c? No. Because if I expand that out, I'll have something to add or subtract to the minus 7, so that's not c. Yeah? So if I wrote it like this though, what if I wrote x minus 10 squared? Make it look different. What about that one? Oh no, we haven't done yet, let's do that. What else we got? What if I said that to you? Would that mark your brain up? Well, for a lot of people. So Mac, how you going over there? I could factorise that. Get the two factors and figure out where the axis of symmetry is, or I can just go minus b on 2a. Make you okay that that's a minus of a minus. So I just look at that, and really it's just saying write the opposite of b. What's the opposite of minus 6? Is a 6. 2 times a, and there's a is 1, so it's just 3, and we've got x equals 3. Same as the previous question. So, I want to say there it is. So when you got written in turning point form, it tells you the answer, turning point form. the turning point is where? So there's your parabola. Where's the turning point? It's on the axis of symmetry. So if I drew any parabola anywhere down there, there's the turning point, and the turning point happens to have the x value, which is the axis of symmetry. This one, what makes it different? Anything? Ready? Oops, I didn't finish the previous one. There it is. So what's the opposite of minus 3? Remember, we've got to do the opposite of minus 3. We've just got 3, x equals 3. I've got so many 3's happening. Where did this all come from? There it is. That one there? No, it just turns upside down. So you get a parabola like that and you turn it upside down. It's still on the same spot, so it hasn't moved left or right. It's stayed in the same position. It's just gone upside down. So the line down the middle stayed the same. There it is, but it's not a minus 10. What is it? It's the opposite. So what I'm saying all the time, everything that's inside does the opposite of what we expect. So that's an x equals 10. Is the, some people say line of symmetry. That one, minus b on 2a. That one, I don't know. Ethan, what do you do with this one, mate?
I don't actually know.
There's two possibilities. You can use this, or you can use halfway between the roots. So what are the roots for this one? What are the x-intercepts? Ethan?
3 and 0.
Yes, everyone hesitates on that x. What is it about when I want to muck people up and I just put x here? Just x. I've got to think of something I've never said before, never done before, whatever that is, to say to people. What would I say? If my brain does this, my brain goes, what if I wrote that as x take 0 and x take 3? Would it be, yeah, no, for your face it just means, no, I'm okay. But, is it okay? Really the question is this, that times what equals 0? So if I put a 0 there, times by that whole bracket, will I get 0? But Ethan, I've said that a million times. I write that up, no deeper meaningful explanation. A lot of students go, got it? I just sit there and go, I'm confused. Yeah? So halfway between where and where? 0 and 3. Remember the insides do the opposites, not the minus 3. So it's halfway between 0 and 3. Right, thank you. 1.5 or 1.5. Instead, I could have done this though, mate. I could have just gone, let's have a look at what we've got. If I expanded that out, what would I have? Let's get rid of that for a second. Let's go the other approach. I didn't do that question. X times x is x squared, x times 3 is 3x, and it's got a minus. And we're going to put in again, here we go, we've got plus 0. So how do I do minus b on 2a? That's the A, that's the B, that's the C. But the formula never used C anyway. Just the quadratic formula only starts with those two. The opposite of minus 3 is 3. So it's actually minus of minus 3. Year 7 kids going, why do we have two negatives make a positive? And you go and you show them why. But why? When are we going to use them like? Well, there's one case of it. You're not going to use a quadratic formula in life, most of you. Some of you will though. So minus 3 over 2 times, and that's a 1. So it's 3 over 2, which happens to be the same. And remember, it's got the x equals, please, guys. Hello? Can I make an issue of it? Like, I'm going nuts, okay, there you go. I think that's good, that looks like me. I'm going nuts. What do I got to do to people? I got to do this to people. Number 1. Where does it come from? Ash. Where does that come from? Were you asleep or were you awake?
I was awake.
You're awake?
The quadratic formula.
Yeah, and it's only the first.
2.
Yeah, because it doesn't do the plus or minus, it's just giving us where the middle is.